The terrible history between CVT transmissions and Nissan has sparked debates for over 2 decades. Customers were forced to pay thousands of dollars for transmission replacements, and despite those repairs, the problem never completely went away. However, Nissan always ignored the widespread issue in almost every car they produced and continued to market their XTRONIC CVT as something remarkable. Insanely enough, they managed to get away with it. But how could such a massive automobile company get away with a manufacturing fault that cost the customers millions? To untangle this web of mystery, let's examine the history of CVT transmissions and how they became Nissan customers' worst nightmares. Although research and development had been ongoing since 1992, Nissan officially launched its first XTRONIC CVT-equipped car in 2003. The Nissan Murano was a popular choice in the American market precisely because everyone was convinced that the latest XTRONIC transmission offered smoother gear shifts, excellent fuel economy, and an overall comfortable driving experience. What the customers never knew was that this glorified technology was going to be full of problems. In the first few months, or for the lucky ones, the first few years, the cars worked great. Transmission was smooth, fuel economy was excellent, and customers were happy with their purchase. However, the real nightmare began as soon as they crossed 100,000 miles. Thousands of customers started to post complaints about their cars breaking down in the middle of the road. Many said that they experienced excessive shuddering, strong jerks, burning smells inside the car, and delayed accelerator response. After all of these fatal symptoms, the transmission would completely break down, leaving them stranded wherever they were. But this was not limited to owners who had driven their cars for 100,000 miles or above. Many people filed similar complaints with just 60,000 miles or even 25,000 miles on the car. This was evidence that Nissan's brand new XTRONIC transmission was either a terrible innovation or needed a global recall. So what was the real issue? Why were these CVT transmissions turning out to be money pits rather than being reliable? To understand this, we first need to understand the difference between a CVT and a regular automatic transmission. Traditional automatic transmissions utilized a fixed set of gears which determine the rate the engine spins. Different engines use different gear ratios depending on the model, size, and whether it is made for performance or economy. On the other hand, CVT transmission uses a pair of pulleys that are attached to a belt. This mechanism transfers power between the engine and the transmission, allowing the transmission to change gears continuously. There is no limit to gears in a CVT transmission, hence the name continuously variable transmission. This allows the engine to run at the optimal efficiency rate, resulting in a smoother drive. Moreover, CVTs are considerably cheaper to make than traditional automatic transmissions, and therefore they have become the top choice for several car makers, including Nissan. Now, from 1992 to 1998, Nissan worked with Mazda and Ford to create a company called XTRONIC to develop different variants of CVT technology. After experiments with different classes of cars, XTRONIC came out with the XTROID CVT, which was made for cars with a 3.0-liter engine in 1999. This was a groundbreaking piece of technology, and Nissan adopted its XTRONIC CVT technology based on the XTROID. Now, as we mentioned before, Nissan debuted its XTRONIC in the 2003 Nissan Murano, an extraordinarily shaped vehicle fitted with a 3.5-liter V6 engine, with mileage ratings of 18 miles per gallon in the city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway. It was made into a popular SUV for the market. However, the buyers started to identify the faults with this new XTRONIC CVT within no time. Initially, Nissan Murano owners complained about delayed acceleration, jerking in the car, and a stuttering feeling during slow speeds and light acceleration. Some transmission overheating complaints also came to light, and soon afterward, the Nissan Murano became one of the most problematic and unreliable SUVs. Now, obviously, Nissan did not admit any oversight on their part, and their first move was to issue a software update. The software allowed the transmission control module to store trouble codes in its memory, and at the same time, Nissan released technical service bulletins to their dealerships, giving technicians and mechanics instructions on how to deal with different diagnostic codes. This was Nissan's response to tackling the emerging issue with their XTRONIC CVT. But did it work? Nah, not really. In the next few years after Nissan Murano launched, several other cars using Jatco CVTs also started to face similar problems. The most notable models included the Jeep Compass and Dodge Caliber. This made Nissan a target, and to keep their image secure, Nissan extended the warranties of their cars equipped with XTRONIC CVT or Jatco CVT to 10 years or 120,000 miles. In addition to that, they came out with a reimbursement program and offered to pay back the money to customers who spent well over $8,000 to get the transmissions replaced on their cars. However, this program did not last long. It started early in 2009, and by mid-2010, the reimbursement program was shut down. The problems with transmission, however, were actually still there. As a last resort, Nissan's customers were forced to choose the legal route and file lawsuits against the company for selling faulty products and not recalling them. The first class action lawsuit addressed the 2013 and 2014 models of Nissan Pathfinders and Xfinity QX60. According to the lawsuit, Nissan failed to warn customers about the transmission failures, and it accused the company of being aware of the manufacturing fault since 2013. The lawsuit did not require Nissan to accept its fault and issue an apology. However, Nissan still denied all allegations. After 2 years, the lawsuit was settled in 2017, with owners of Nissan Pathfinder and Xfinity QX60 being reimbursed for their costs they paid, a discount voucher for their next purchase of any Nissan or Infiniti vehicle, and an extended warranty. Now you might ask, what about the other cars made by Nissan and Infiniti equipped with the same transmission and facing similar issues? Well, Nissan did absolutely nothing for them. The complaints continued to pile up, and customers continued to face massive monetary losses at the hands of XTRONIC CVT transmission. But this time, the damage was far worse. Other companies that were using XTRONIC CVT also started to face serious backlash, especially Dodge and Jeep. The 2011 Jeep Compass and 2013 Dodge Caliber became the most unreliable cars with this CVT transmission, and the media did not take this lightly. Many magazines, news outlets, and car forums talked against Nissan and Jatco for providing substandard transmissions, leading to millions of dollars in loss for their customers. Ultimately, Dodge, Jeep, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, and Subaru decided to cut ties with Jatco because that was the only way they were going to rebuild their name. As for Nissan, since they have a controlling stake in Jatco, they are still working with the company to build transmission, and even though they have introduced a new CVT transmission in 2020, the complaints and lawsuits are still piling up. Currently, Nissan is entangled in at least 4 class action lawsuits, one of which is a massive $277 million lawsuit filed in 2021. The company has settled and agreed to pay this amount, but at the same time, they have not agreed to any wrongdoing, indicating that Nissan's reliability is still questionable. The biggest issue is that only Nissan is the biggest offender here. Other companies like Honda, Toyota, and even Subaru, who used to be under the umbrella of Jatco, are still using their proprietary CVT transmission, and they're working perfectly. But Nissan's XTRONIC CVT is still extremely unreliable, breaks down anytime, and it costs a handsome penny to get it replaced or even repaired. Even then, there is no guarantee that it will work perfectly because it's not a part fault, it's actually a technology fault. This is exactly why Nissan vehicles with CVTs lose their value instantly, and reselling them is nothing less than a headache. After all, why would anybody want to buy a car with a known fault that could cost them thousands of dollars? Now don't get me wrong, CVT itself is great. It does help with fuel economy and makes smoother rides. Honda Accords, Toyota Camrys, and Subaru Imprezas are perfect examples of this. But for Nissan, CVT is actually a nightmare. Although they had to pay quite a bit of money in lawsuits and legal fees, they have still not accepted their fault with XTRONIC CVT, and to date, they are getting away with it. Unless Nissan overhauls their CVT technology and introduces something as reliable as Honda or Toyota, its already damaged reputation will only deteriorate further. What do you guys think of this XTRONIC CVT fiasco? Should Nissan come out with a public apology and completely abandon this terribly unreliable technology once and for all? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.